Okay, so today I'm going to be doing episode 3 of playing it with a shaman and doing this whole evolve shenanigans. And of course, these decks I usually do in this gimmick little format are not going to be very good, but I did have a very fun interaction last time where I got like Harik from Warlock, right? The 8 cost that summons like 1/1 copies of itself, and it seems so tailor-made and perfect for using evolve on. Of course, that's not a normal interaction that you would typically have. And of course, like how could you plan to get exactly a Warlock card? But that's the kind of fun stuff that we're looking for. Like some of these gimmick decks, I've been waiting for like a super fun interaction like that. And I play it for a couple of weeks to try to get that, even if it's short sessions. But that one happened like on the second episode, right? Of me playing, and really only the first one, because the first episode I spent trying to just make the deck. So I'll do this for a little bit longer than usual. Like usually I do these for a month where I just go through a gimmick deck or a couple of fun mechanics, but I'll do this one going into next month too, so there's no rush. So they did come out with a mini set, and there was actually, interestingly, a card that is very fun in there. The Wave of Nostalgia fits with the whole evolve mechanic, which of course doesn't have a keyword still, but it took us 10 years to get elusive. It'll take us another 10 years to get this, but no, that was a pretty fortuitous one to get. So I'm not going to worry about looking through the cards and trying to improve the deck too much, mainly because I don't have enough gold or enough dust to even do anything, so I'll just not worry about it this time. Next time I might try to build it a little bit if I can. The main thing I would like to make is like a doppelgangster or something like that, which I'm sure there's better versions of the same thing now. That's obviously a super old card that came out at the same time as the Thrall hero from what's it called, Deathseer Thrall, which is one of my favorite ones. Like I'd say, even though I didn't use it that much, and again I haven't played Shaman really that much, probably I went like number 1 was Rexark for his fun effect. Maybe number 2 is Thrall just for the fun factor. Obviously, I like Jaina and Gul'dan, but they were just so good that it kind of goes without saying. Detonate the competition. Dr. Boom is not messing around with his new toy line. Complete quests, earn experience, earn rewards, and just don't shoot an eye out. They kind of milked Dr. Boom a little bit in this game just with respect to how stupid, whatever. They got obsessed with the whole 7/7 stat line. People were upset about a 7-mana 7/7 that summons a couple 1/1s. I always said that the boom bot should have been like deal 1 damage, but they should work like some of the other, like Mad Bomber and stuff works, where it deals 1 damage to anything, which means it could be you too. Then at least you would have to think twice about it. It would still be a good card, but the fact that it only dealt damage to your opponent and summon a copy stuff is kind of what I was trying to do. And of course, this is a sort of different account just for these kind of formats that I do, or whatever. I have all kind of split collections, so it'll seem like, yeah, I really have never played Shaman before, but like it has 4 wins, and that must have just been from last time. But whatever. It kind of is confusing because I'll buy certain of these cosmetics on certain accounts, so like whatever. I end up wasting money like a clown either way, but that's almost what you could do, is make like a different account for each class. Like on this account, I'll only play a shaman, and on some other account, but whatever. There's no need to really do that.
From my darkest visions.
Yeah, the fucking phony who tries to take my place, even though I'm the one who encourages it. Right, like Arthas was nothing more than a tool for the real Lich King and Ner'zhul. So these are both good. I mean, again, the original Evolve doesn't even feel that good by today's standards, but it's just the one thing this deck was really missing was minions. We've had this sort of RP scenario play out a number of times where, it's like the Lich King versus whatever, the phony Lich King versus the real Lich King, even though this one's supposed to include Ner'zhul in it too, right? Like now we are one, but then they wrote him out of the story because they're clowns, Blizzard, right? Where by the time you fight Arthas in the, in the actual Frozen Throne raid, you fucking Ice Crown Citadel, obviously, it's supposed to be, oh, it's just Arthas. There is no Ner'zhul or no reference to him at all. Like, what the fuck is that? That was the whole point, that you were combining both characters. The problem is you might even have to do something like where you just use the totems, because I'm so minion starved. In fact, that's kind of the condition and the criteria of this deck, is that like every card has to have an evolve effect in it. Right, or some sort of transform effect. So I'm not allowed to have any minions that are just regular minions, right? The way that I hard commit to sort of a gimmick or a theme with a lot of these ideas. And then the second format I was doing kind of last time, which I'm not going to hard commit to, but it was sort of the idea that you're going to you're going to do it in such a way that you have to play every evolve card in your hand before you win the game. So even if I have lethal, I have to wait and do every evolution first, and then I'm allowed to win. And I almost would want to combine this with a Yogg effect too. Not just because Evolve is sort of portrayed as an old god-esque mechanic, and that's when it first came out, I think, isn't Whispers of the Old God expansion, but also just because it plays into the randomness, right? This is randomness to do with minions, that's randomness to do with spells, so... I mean, not a very advanced play that I can do here, but let's just do... we can do that, and then we can do it again, too. Envoy of Lazul. Look at 3 cards. Let's actually just do what we can because I'm so desperate for a minion period. So that was a lot of work to put in to get that, but I guess it's okay. I mean, sometimes it'll give and sometimes it'll take back, but I just don't have enough minions. That's the problem. Always reminds me of my Iron Juggernaut deck that I like so much, which is technically better now. That's the whole irony of it. They gave him the Death Rattle effect now. So it's like, wow, this card is actually better and this deck might be viable, but it was so bad in the first place that even doing that, it's going to be worse now because of all the power creep and everything to take into consideration. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Like, it's so stupid. Okay, that was actually good. That's the kind of one that's really going to reward you, right? It kind of the upside is that you get these kind of, you know, you don't get negative effects from the battle cries or certain things like Injured Blade Master, but then you miss out on good battle cries. So usually you get punished for it more though, because there'll be a lot of them that are meant to do some good effects. So it'll be a 1/1, but it summons something else with the battle cry. Now we do this. So see, even though I persisted, like, oh, I'm just using totems and I'm overusing my evolve effects on them and wasting it, it ended up paying off to some extent. So I want to do this, but I guess I won't do it. What I'll do is I'll do this and then I'll wait, right? And then we'll see if we can do a good evolve next turn, which maybe was a mistake. This is my little Bad Moon Rising fetishization. Like, I'm so obsessed with Bad Moon Rising and fucking PvZ Heroes. But this, if you like Bad Moon Rising, this is it. We have Bad Moon Rising at home. It's the same idea that, like, you're just getting value for stuff on the board and just making it better, right? So it's such a multiplicative thing. Now we can do it, like, twice over, but I should... You know, we could trade in as much as we can here. And it effectively works as a heal, too, for the most part, even if you get, like, something similar. Transform a minion into one that costs 3 more. We could do a lot. Like, we could do this, right? 4/3, that thing's fucking dormant. In fact, I don't know that I've really seen a dormant one come from this before. I've never really paid attention. Random ones at the same cost is just more like a reroll, right? If you don't like what you get. So this you can just... get rid of that. Would this even work now? Because, yeah, it won't even work because that was dormant, so it's not even affected by it. That's really unusual that that even happens. After you play 3 cards, this awakens. And of course, I'm a big fan of getting taunts from this. It's not like the decks we're going against are very good, but I mean, if I feel like I have a good advantage, I'll try to BM them like that by, like, trying to play every evolve effect I have before I go for lethal. But... you know, sometimes we won't be able to help that, or we won't even win in the first place. Like, even when I got that sexy heroic interaction, I wasn't actually able to do anything with it because, like, I still lost. So we lose out on that death rattle thing, whatever, but that's fine. We can go like this. And which one is, like, an undesirable cost? That's a 5 cost, that's a 6 cost. I don't know. I guess, I mean, I'm such a fan of elusive, I couldn't possibly question it. Honorable kill, deal 8 to the enemy hero. I doubt they're gonna summon anything that's an 8/8. Like, this is fun in the whole randomness effect that some of these decks do, like Renounced Darkness and all, but it's a little bit too much effort that you have to put in to do it. But you do get a healthy supply of them, and it still is like a net positive, because, like, the assumption is transform all other friendly minions into copies of it. I don't know whether that'd even be good or not, but let's first, I don't know. What would I do here? I could, like... Just do this, trade this, hit you in the face, and then do that. I don't fully understand how this is even gonna work. That wasn't a very good idea. Like, not everything I have in there is gonna be high cost, so I guess I didn't really have to do that. Like, generally, that's not gonna be a good play to make. Right, when my board was at least decent. This is where Devolve can be so fucking annoying that if nothing else, it'll get rid of the taunt, even if it's still good, or I guess it won't. That was one of my favorite moments from early Hearthstone. One of the first arenas I did. Like, I had like 2 or 3 of these, and I drew them like back to back to back, right? Just top deck mode to get like 3 in a row and actually win the game when I'm horribly losing. I mean, since my board isn't even too good, I guess I could just do this. Right, it'll become a Murloc, which means that, you know, it completely ruins. So when Devolve isn't good enough to work for you to remove their shit, you can just do that. I mean, it's tantamount to just a polymorph. Also damages minions next to whoever it attacks, okay? I mean, generally, that's not a very good one to do, right? You almost are using that as a Devolve effect. Just say that everything becomes a Murloc, because obviously, most Murlocs are not going to be that good. Random one that costs 1 more. That was actually a bad one to do. I mean, again, sometimes you'll get screwed, but you can't complain. But this is what happened to me in the other game too, like against the Rogue, where I got that heroic interaction. Of course, they used Yogg Saron and everything to fuck me over. I actually ran out of minions and kind of burned out, because so many of my cards are just evolves that I keep using multiple in the same turn, so it's kind of stupid. 8/8, so that was pretty much worth it. And now it'll heal up a little bit. The 3/3 is kind of useless. I mean, it is giving me pretty good ones when I really need them, but then again, that just shows you the one I had was underwhelming, right? That's an 8 cost. That's like or a 7 cost. Right, I haven't even heard all his voice lines yet. I've just been admiring his midriff and the thirst trap ideation that they fucking made him with. Again, I'm almost obligated to get it because of how much I like Ner'zhul, but of course, I like the one that's actually in the frozen armor, or even this one could have been portrayed a little better. You can't even see his staff, it gets cut off in the top, and instead they want to zoom in on his stupid chest. Like, what the fuck is this, dude? Maybe that's how he actually looks, because I don't know too well the shaman version of himself, but like, why don't we get Terran Gorfiend as a fucking Death Knight or something? He was the first, you know?
My power will ripple across
and then he's just randomly in Black Temple, which everybody finds kind of funny. Right, like, it's not a bad thing, but it's kind of just, what does that have to do with even Outland or anything? He should have something to do with either the Lich King, or he should be off on his own doing his own thing. I forget how exactly they rationalize it. This is one thing that makes you almost want the cards that generate stuff, like a 4-cost card that summons, you know, whatever, 2 2/2s. It makes you want the card cost to be the same as the one it summons. Like, even with the hero power, it's a 2-cost hero power, but it doesn't summon a 2-cost minion, right? It summons a 1-cost. It's like, you want to do this, but you don't really want to do it. Like, I don't know, it feels like a waste to even bother. This is obviously good. It's not really that good though for the, you know, compared to like the Imp one or something crazy like that. Right, some of the locations, or I always call them portals, right? But they're technically not. It doesn't really say that anywhere. That's just my own little invented fan term. Okay, let's do this one, I guess, or maybe not. Let's just do this and see what we get. And we could even do it again if I really feel compelled to. They just kind of outvalue me too much in the beginning. See, that was kind of a complete waste. You're playing like 3-4 cards just for fucking nothing. Destroy Soul Fragment, obviously. A lot of these interactions you're not going to be benefiting from. In fact, the majority of everything you're not going to benefit from. But I mean, I got a couple good rushes and charges and stuff like that last game. And there is no like little round robin type thing I'm even doing with this, like where I sometimes would have 2 decks with the same class and I'm doing like gimmicks and alternating between them. Or I was even doing that with Whizbang. Like, I play as one Whizbang, and if I lose, I play as the other Whizbang. You can do this, which is good. And what you would do there is you'd basically do it more so to try to evolve it. Right? And the reason why is because they're not really that good on their own, and I don't really care too much about the rush. I mean, it was still a good value play. Like, it was worth it, but it just is a lot of effort. That is the big weakness of this, is you just don't have any fucking minions. Like, let me try to look through again. I don't want to really craft too much stuff, or I won't even be able to, but if there's anything that has the transform effect to do with it, I'll just kind of recap, because I need like some low-cost stuff, but there just isn't anything good enough to fit all these random rules that I put in there. Or that should be like my favorite card back, because it's like the fairy dragon kind of reference, right? As much as I love elusive, obviously, all the time. And I was always kind of wondering, when are they ever going to add more of them? Because they kind of just ignored that mechanic for so long, but... do it one that costs 3 more whenever you play a 1-cost minion. Let's go ahead and do this and see if this is worth it. 4/4. You could give me a rush, and then you could give me another. Okay, 10/10, but what's the effect? Oh shit, steal 1 health and 1 attack from all enemy minions. Can't complain about that. See, look at some of these sick fucking things that happen, but people are gonna have too many answers for everything. That's the problem. Because they're playing it like it's a normal deck, like an actual meta encounter at bronze rank 7, but again, because they don't show your opponent's ranks anymore, and it's not because I have the whatever names turned off, you wouldn't really know. Right? Or is there like some kind of armory add-on you can do for this where it lets you see that? Like, why they got rid of that in the first place, I don't know. Ancient Void Hound. This almost seems like too cool of a card to just be a random thing like that. It should be like almost an old god in itself, like Gul'dan or somebody. So we can do that, and then we can try to basically... yeah, Sensory Overload, that's kind of what this deck actually is all about. You're gonna save that until you can actually use the effect properly. Wait. Oh, it's still not enough? That is a pretty unique effect, especially with the whole stealing attack. Well, you gave me the infuse effect that I wanted, but the problem is I'm not gonna be able to do a whole lot with this, but this will still be worth it. But then again, let me hit him in the stupid face first, and then we'll do it. Or I'll get rid of something else too. I mean, I almost wouldn't want to do this, but because, you know what I mean? Like, this is my problem that I run into. I shouldn't do it because that could fuck me over. Right? You get an 8/8 instead. That's not going to have as good of an effect. So who is like an underwhelming value? And the answer is nobody really. 4/9 is actually pretty good. 3/3 is not really too good. You know, I'm a fan of these big health statings, just that you can kind of get them to stick around for a long time. But no, see, that was an objectively bad play, because why the fuck would I want to get rid of that Gul'dan looking dude? And obviously I don't know much about the old gods that they keep adding and making up over time. I think that's even what that one is. Like, that's one of those writing shortcuts. Gul'dan isn't really an old god because, you know, we would have heard about him, or, you know, he doesn't really exist. But he's like a failed experiment by the Titans to create an old god of their own to try to figure them out, or, you know, do like an experiment. What a stupid ass contrived way to do it. Like, we ran out of lore characters and figures and bosses to fight, so we just keep inventing them, literally inventing them by having characters do stupid stuff like that. This overload is kind of obnoxious, actually. So you have to obviously kill that first. Let me think. And you should arguably do the evolve effect first before you do anything else, but it just doesn't really even matter too much. Like, that's not even going to do anything, so you'd obviously have to do it on here. And see, this is where you get fucked over. Alana, I like you, but... you know, it's just not there's a time and a place, dude. When your side bay shows up at just the wrong time. I always used to love that in that deck where I would make my own spells cost more. Like, the anti-spell because like the Nerubians would do it or whatever. It's like the elusive mage that we'll get to at the very end of this whole gauntlet of playing classes. See, now I'm just fucked from the simple fact that I won't have enough minions to even play, or even if I do have enough minions, I'm not going to be able to evolve them effectively enough. Right, or fuck, I ask and I receive. What you'd get from this would have to be really, really good. And the reason why is because... Wait, so what, again, what is like an underwhelming cost? Or maybe I should just go for something super high cost. 6/6 for each frost something. So I need like some taunts, I need some rushes, I need some actual good effects. And I think I'm just gonna get fucking rolled over here now. Haven't used this guy since probably I did that Cursed Warlock deck in like 2022. We get a little Iron Juggernaut sighting. After a friendly minion with taunt dies, summon a new copy with taunt. Yeah, that could have been an excellent synergy if I had actually gotten one, but... This is power creep, but this is still old power creep. Like fucking, when I first saw that, I was shocked. I hadn't played Hearthstone in a while, and then I come back to see this crazy shit in like my first game back. Ironically, using the Iron Juggernaut deck itself, right? The craziest game ever played of Bronze. But oh no, that's just an average game in that day and age, like a couple years back. Probably also in 2022, where it's like, I'm just so shocked to see it, but it's, you know, everything becomes normalized now. Because it becomes where it's kind of contrived. Like, all these epic things happen, but they only happen because the cards are sort of bloated, right? It's like a desensitization that happens in real life. It's no longer a big deal to see pyrotechnics and explosions in movies or whatever, or whatever epic things happen, you know, even in a real life sense. It's not a big deal because, you know, you see it so often and you kind of take for granted that it can be done. But it's the same thing here. It's like, you could see a much simpler interaction in an earlier state of the game and be like, wow, that's so cool. You played Alex Strasza and killed somebody with Gore Howl, or just whatever, something simple. You know, you played Iron Juggernaut and you flipped it back with the Panda, and then you played it again. What a creative way to get, you know, multiple mines in their deck and guarantee it that they can't remove it because you flip it back the same turn for 8 mana or for 10 mana with the 4-cost 1, right? But now it's like, oh wow, you play Yogg-Saron and it causes everything to attack each other and clears the whole board and does, you know, 50 million other things. Like, it doesn't mean as much because it's too, you know, the game is trying too hard to do it, or it's just kind of doing too much. It's kind of like the old school philosophy with the classes in WoW, or like in old school RPGs. The extent that, you know, a class is better defined by what they don't do rather than like what they can't do rather than what they do. As in, you know, oh, a mage might have really good crowd control and they might have really good you know, burst damage and all this kind of stuff, but then they also are very squishy, so you can get them from 100 to 0 very quickly, so they kind of need those things, or they can't heal and stuff like that. So, you know, you'll have your strengths and weaknesses rather than just you can do everything and just certain people can do certain things better. That's better class design. Like, a mage can't heal at all, and they can't, and they're very squishy and they burn out very quickly, you know, on mana and everything like that. But they also have good burst. They have, you know, certain high risk, high reward, glass cannon type of things. Your power did indeed ripple across eternity, says the narrator. Upon hearing that, we have a lot of fun AoE sort of transformations too, but again, I'm just missing out. I guess a priest should be a good matchup though, because, well, whether we win or lose, we should always get to see a lot of interactions. Like, why do so many people use this card back? It makes it seem like everybody who does is a bot, but no, it must be only the gear card back that people do that with, because that represents that they are a robot themselves. So they just have to give me a couple turns to actually play stuff. Or I actually wanted to look at my deck and see what's in there. So my rule is I can't have any minions, or I guess more to the point, like any cards really that don't play into the theme. Right, like even this arguably doesn't play into it, but if it summons multiple things, I can accept it. Right, so it at least has to be something that summons copies of itself, or something that involves transforming as an effect. Like a battle cry that says transform such and such. This song is kind of underrated on this board. I like it. just the production design of this game was always fucking knocking it out of the park. Like, you compare it to Magic Arena, and I just always make fun. Like, how do they fucking... Like, you know, Magic the Gathering might very well be a better game than Hearthstone, but it doesn't matter. Like, how the fuck do you not take advantage of that and actually do better presentation? No voice acting on the lines, the music and stuff is all understated, the arenas aren't quite as interesting, the lore behind it is kind of, you know, it is what it is. It doesn't have as strong of a specific universe to it, but they keep borrowing stuff from other universes like fucking Lord of the Rings and this and that. Post Malone Transformers and Lord of the Rings sounds like a good Friday night. We can do Thrall right now, but we don't really have anything to do with it. But at least the slow-paced nature of this is nice because I'll just even do it because what the fuck, right? Just to have the ability to evolve. But I mean, the battle cry is supposed to be the main thing that 3-5. You may as well actually just do that because mine will still survive, but then they'll kind of heal through it. But yeah, that's the whole beauty of it. You should always just trade stuff in and get it low on health so you can just effectively heal. If he doesn't take care of it, right, I'll just be... Or why wouldn't you just heal it first then? So the Murloc one again, you got to think of more so as just devolve. But this is where I keep getting fucked over because I don't have enough... I don't have any minions that I can actually goddamn play, so I better look at what I have. But no, I want at least like one copy of each of these, if nothing else. Some of them are going to be kind of dumb. Like, I don't even really want this in there, but sometimes it'll help kind of deal with their shit, like it just did last game. Right, they'll have like a crazy big taunt and devolve doesn't work, but it'll ruin your own attacking capability too. Alright, this you need to do just because you can't do anything else. Choose a minion, discover one. Okay, so this will give me at least something else. Silence your other minions. Draw a card for each different spell school you've cast this game. What does that mean? How can it be 0 if... What?
Magic? Yeah.
Or, I mean, I wouldn't even be able to do that anyway. Or no, it just transforms it anyway, so... This will at least be good because it'll kind of knock him off a peg. You get a 2/2 for it. Whenever you draw a card, you get +1/+1. That's actually not bad if we can just kind of get it too. But no, I have a high burnout capability with this because I keep playing 2 or 3 cards every turn and I'm not getting anything back for them. There's no card draw, no generation, no cycling. Sure, you're still getting value and equity for the simple fact of improving their cost, but... What does this remind me of? That is that the name of like the staff in Oblivion that I saved up my gold for, like, and I did it in my Arena Hunter series? That word just has a certain association with me immediately. I think it's that really expensive staff you can buy in one of the main shops in town in Oblivion. Now this would be a perfect play that you can do, but I kind of like the taunt. I mean, this is really such a fun mechanic. It's just... It takes a little bit to try to figure out what you're actually doing. Wait, this is a definite easy reroll.
It is finished. You win.
Oh wow, really? That's all it takes? And I've seen this guy like 5 times from that effect. What are the chances you would see the same one over and over? And I guess since we won, that means it's validated and I don't have to try to, you know, whatever. But it's like, let me just see what the fuck I'm even dealing with. And there's the little whiz-bang ones that we had done as part of the gauntlet. So we can get rid of some of these double copies, right? And put some minions in there instead. Like, let me count. How many minions do I have? 1, 2. Again, they at least mentioned transforming. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's some other thing like this that kind of transforms stuff. I can't remember what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of the copy. You need like Serenite Chain Gang. The thing is, I don't have a lot of these cards in the first place. Like, I honestly am completely dried out. Right, you would need that. What is that other thing called? Like, I guess I'll just look up transform. Everything that mentions transforming, and again, a lot of it I'm not going to have. Or like summon a copy. Even this mentions transforming, but, and I had that in there before too. Maybe I should do it. We have 2 of those. Like, you got to realize, like, I just don't have anything that I can do. That's the problem that I'm having. Like, really, why do I need 2 of some of these if... Well, I guess that's the whole point, though. I want 2 of them because... I don't know. Again, I'm not doing it for optimal purposes, but... Let me think. Like, I'd have to get rid of something. Okay, that one's good. Like, I want at least 2 copies of all the ones that are gonna have to do with me, right, where I can just keep doing them over and over. I'm almost fine with it, but I have to keep using my totems in a way that's kind of stupid. And there's nothing really even else to play, too. Like, summon a copy of itself or of something, right, would be good. Destroy friendly minions, summon a copy of it. Doesn't really help if you control a secret, no. Battle cry and quick draw, so again, that would be fine for the same purpose. And even though it seems kind of whatever redundant, it would still be good because you get to... I'm gonna end up using fucking Renethal here just because there's gonna be so many things I want in here. Summon a copy of it with Rush, Wind Fury. Again, it would be more so just to summon a copy, period. Miniaturize after you play a minion with the same attack as this, summon a copy of it. That's kind of too oddly specific. If you have spell damage, it's not going to really happen. Wow, there's really that few cards in the whole game that say summon a copy. What the fuck? How is that possible? Totem, summon a copy, random minion in your hand. That doesn't even seem like a very good value card. And 99% drawing your Deathwing. Summon a copy of this. This would be a perfect thing to do, right? Just because I love elusive so much too. Summon a copy of each minion in your hand. They attack random enemy minions and die. But that's the whole... Well, you wouldn't be able to evolve them, though. So that sucks, man. Come on. That could have been a good interaction, but... They attack random enemy minions and die. But they don't even die at the end of the turn, so you couldn't flip them back. That's so stupid. What if there is no enemy minion to attack, then? Would they just... That's kind of dumb. No, I'm surprised there's so few things that actually says... that mention summon a copy. After it survives damage, summon a copy of it. Again, it's high cost, but it's almost hard to justify doing that unless you're gonna like do some sort of defile combo or some crazy shit. So none of those are really too exciting. You definitely want the chain gang. You maybe want this one, but it's not really that big of a deal. What was the one that I wanted from here? Oh yeah, I wanted that one. Again, a lot of stuff I just can't afford to actually even have, so I guess I won't really worry about it. And we have that stupid holiday break deck or whatever. I mean, we won that game, so what can I say? But it's got to be a slow-paced matchup like that, because it's not even that, oh, I have to draw my minions. I don't even have minions. Like, there's literally nothing in the early game, so I'm just screwed. I have 2 copies of that one thing, but you honestly almost have to rely on your totems here to basically... Clownface Illidan over here. We gotta have the rematch between Illidan and Arthas. Clownface 1 versus Clownface 2. I mean, you almost may as well keep that because you're not gonna get shit that you can ever play. It's so dumb. Like, I end up having to rely on this thing, which is good, but... Or like that 3 cost thing that overloads me, which is not a good card by today's standard at all.
I greet you.
Oh, that's very respectful. I haven't heard like any other voice line, I guess, besides that and WoW, so I'll try to do them at appropriate times, though. I don't want to just spam them for no reason. So again, we have a lot of good evolution cards as normal. What I'll have to do is just cut out one of each of the evolution card, like all the spells, and just put minions in there instead, because otherwise it's not practical. You're just not going to be able to do anything for like the first 5 turns. I don't know why this is always so low resolution too, the fire. It's like a bug that nobody's ever noticed or fixed, right? Because everything else is high quality, but just this one part. Maybe it's to show that, oh, that's a classic texture from vanilla WoW or whatever, from vanilla Hearthstone, where it's just... It didn't look like that even at the time. Like, everything else looks beautiful. That is so weird. You got a 3/3 there, and I could coin something out, but I almost don't even care. Like, if you're really going to take the time to hit it, then go ahead and do it. It's just so unrewarding at the beginning. There's really nothing I can do. But even if I did make some of those minions, there's nothing really low cost that I want either. Let me see what low cost minions are in that other one, like the holiday break thing. Yeah, summoning copies and also stuff that mentions transforming. What is that one thing? It's like a 4/5 that evolves something basically. How did I not see it when I was looking through all the transform keyword stuff? Alright, so I'm basically just screwed. Even if I devolve them, it's not really going to do anything for me. I mean, I almost have to do it, but...
There is not enough mana. There is not enough mana.
Let's just do that shit anyway. I mean, it worked out pretty well as far as... You know, whatever. But most of these are not going to be expected to be too good anyway. But yeah, it negates so many of their effects on high cost stuff or whatever that it can be so fucking frustrating to go against that. Fuck. My totem is my only hope. And this is a card that they changed at some point. Draw a demon, reduce the cost by 2. That one would be cute, but again, I just don't have anything I can actually play. We could do this one and we could evolve it like maybe twice, which would maybe be worth it. I don't know. I'll save the AoE one. Okay, 4 or 5, that's at least something. But I just have to put in too much effort and commitment to do it. Like, I'm just panicking on the board because I can't do anything. It's insane. Why the fuck is it this hard to get anything to stick? But in this case, it's not because, oh, my opponent has so much removal. It's just because I don't have any minions myself, so it's my fault.
If 3 rights make a left.
As we could do that. Also, if everything sticks around, but it won't. And of course, you can never feel too good about a Demon Hunter top decking because that's kind of what they're supposed to do. Because they want to be playing the stupid ass outcast stuff. So basically, I'm surprised he didn't actually kill that. Or he'll have an answer for it now. Still I-beam or some shit. Oh, that's a big mistake when you can tell how much I'm relying on this shit. In fact, I almost shouldn't even do the Jive Insight. I should do this, and then I should do this. And then I should do this. Right, what a synergy. Wow, so good. Actually not bad because it basically healed that too. Both players equip 1-2 microphones. Your opponent increases all damage they take by 1. So then what does mine do? Yeah, that's fine. Or it's not. Deal 3 damage to enemies at the end of the turn. Fine. Nothing I can really do about that. I mean, you could let him pop and then just turn him into a fucking Murloc, but other than that, there's really nothing I can do the whole game. Fucking... This one's like more high level stuff. Like, you get really fun interactions, even more so than most of these decks I've used, but they're a lot harder to get, or, you know, it takes more effort a little bit to build towards them. Some of them, it's easy to get the effect, but it's not as fun in practice. Now he should wake up, and then I should be able to devolve the whole fucking board, and that would be fine. But it doesn't mean it's even going to be that good, really. Like... But I have no choice, and I don't have any actual proper AoE. Or will it take till... Well, it doesn't even matter now, but... Well, let me see what other minions we have in general. Or let me try to find that 4/5 one. I don't know how I missed it. Or yeah, did they finally start the twist mode again? Because they kind of keep... It looks like that one, like one of the faceless types, but it's like a... What the hell is it? It's not this. I don't get it. Is it maybe it would have to be a shaman card then. Right, I'm sure it's like a 4 mana. Yeah, here it is. Master of Evolution. Of course, it has evolve even in the name. Transform friendly minion into a random one that costs 1 more. Okay, fine. Transform friendly minion into a copy of this. Like, you could put that in there, but... I'm just struggling to figure out anything else to do here. Let me see. We could just, you know, add a couple evolve stuff into here, but Yeah, let me actually do that. I'll just... Everything that has 2, let's just get rid of it. I don't care if we don't get to evolve, because everything that has 2 except for a minion, we'll just do it. Because we're just not able to actually play the game the way we're doing it now. So, again, transform stuff, copy stuff. If there's any minions that actually mention it, then we can do that. I mean, we can even do the stupid-ass frogs, right? Like, transform friendly minion copy of this. I mean, it does work for what we're trying to do, I suppose. Right, that's the one condition that we have to have. We'll do even 2 of these just for the fuck of it. We'll do summon a copy. I guess there really is nothing there. I mean, fuck. Let's see. Hearthstone veteran ends up fucking totally starved on mana. Okay, let's just do that because that's the whole linchpin of what we have. So again, still the first couple turns you're fucked. And even if I do add more stuff, I don't think you know, even if I was able to craft whatever I wanted, I don't think there are too many low cost cards that would really meet this criteria. So some of them are transforming in unpredictable ways, like transform it into a copy of this random frog. But, you know, that's still like, okay, you summon a totem and then you get a 4/5 frog. So, like, it's not as fun because it's not a random effect, but it still is a transformation. And obviously you have, you know, I could have Hex in here in in the same token as Devolve and stuff, but I don't really care. And then that other thing is like, the other thing is basically where you're in a position to, you know, summon a copy of one of their things, but it doesn't really matter because,
The one from my darkest vision.
you know, it still is a transformation, but it's just kind of not as exciting. I could do like Faceless Manipulator, right? Like these are all thematic to what we have here. I'm gonna end up playing this for like a fucking century to try to get all these things.
I grant you permission to speak. Unfortunate.
Unfortunate how they wrote my character out.
Is mine.
Look at him coining out already like a clown. At least we have a certain number of minions. Rush Overload 2. If you play an elemental last turn, don't overload. I'd rather you just summon a copy of your dumb self, though. But yeah, Death Knights had one of the most contrived class designs I've ever seen in the history of any game. You know, especially a card game. Like, oh, we'll create these 3 rune systems. Like, what are you going to do that for every class now? Like, every fucking class has 3 specs. There'll be like, you know, elemental shaman and a fucking whatever. Resto, you can only use certain cards. Like, we've already split up the cards so much by classes. Like, we really have to do this? The overload is going to fuck me over, but I guess I'll still do it just because, the reborn is going to fuck me over if nothing else. Like, I don't even know what to do with that board. Right, that wasn't going to do anything. Nothing really does anything. At least he's playing around Devolve to the extent that all his stuff is so shitty and low cost that it doesn't even really matter. Paladin fucking role player over here. Identity confused clown. Wait, we could do this one, certainly. Transforming it, but it doesn't really cost that much, so the transformation won't even be that good.
Here comes the drop. Here comes the drop.
I don't know. Right? There's nothing I can really even do with this shit, dude. Well, I guess it'll lose the attack, though, right? Doesn't seem entirely worth it, but give me like a fucking taunt, restore 2 health, inspire, battle cry, play a card with battle cry. I mean, honestly, for the kind of board that they have, I almost wouldn't even mind it too much. Right, so they feel like they have to trade into, otherwise they'll keep healing by summoning a totem, as if that's something I really even want to do. We might just have to do this instead. Okay, good play. Yeah, that heal is totally gonna save me, by the way. Fuck. These 2 stupid ass frogs might actually do it, though. Or we could do this and like transform them, but I feel like the frogs are still more of a priority. But there's nothing I can really do either. Like, they're not gonna really do anything for me. They can easily just get through it. I mean, you obviously get punished if you just don't have any AoE or board clear, but even whatever pseudo AoE I would have isn't going to work because it's just going to devolve them and transform them and stuff. And when they're this low cost and shitty, they might even feel like, you know, you might even feel like it could be better in some cases what they get from it instead, you know? It'll be about the same or it'll be better, but I guess it might not have some of these still favorable effects. But that was still an impactful play that they had to do that. Like, what does this guy have? Like, only fucking minions in his deck? I mean, that the problem with that is it'll also affect theirs, so that can be kind of stupid. So this is good to try to survive, but maybe what you should do instead is you should just transform them. One of them could be a taunt, one of them could be something else good. This won't even really help. In fact, I'll just take more damage if you do that. So, obviously I'm dead. I mean, at least we have more minions in there now, so at least we have some potential to play stuff. It's just, now it's more a question of not being able to... Wait, how are you even level 15 if you've only won 5 games there? Or I guess just in this, I must have played it in arena or something once or twice, but... Again, my whole experience is split over so many different things that it's hard to even keep track of it. But that's good to create like an RP sense too, like each one is committed to its own sort of experience. I could have almost made a rule for that too, like just that's almost a good way to play it at the beginning. Like when Hearthstone first came out, you should have been like, I'm going to commit to one class and one class only, or you could do the same thing in Magic the Gathering, and I'm going to disenchant every single card. I guess you can't disenchant though in arena, so that's what fucks it up. But I'm going to disenchant every card except for the cards of that one class. And the reason why is because, you know, it's like I want to play as warrior and only warrior, so I'll disenchant every other card from every other class combined. Right, and only keep warrior cards and neutral cards, so then I can flesh out that class really well. Whereas if I try to do all of them, it'll get too identity confused, and you'll never be able to keep up, right? Let me see who's winning between the fucking Mavs and the Timberwolves, since the... Oh shit, the Mavs are actually winning too. Halftime 60 to 52. I mean, obviously, nobody expected them to be down 0-2. Yeah, sports betting has kind of ruined the whole landscape of sports. Is there like much esports betting, I wonder? That's probably a whole nother fucking category. That's actually hilarious. Online betting. Or there was like this fun sort of thing you could do that I didn't do too much of, but like you could like play these online games against other people for money. Like, let's bet on the outcome of our actual game, like this Hearthstone game. I'll give you $1 million if you beat me in this game. But more like it should be the opposite. If I fucking beat you with this shitty clown deck, not that what these people are using are particularly great anyway, but it's very strange that no, don't bet on an actual NBA basketball game, bet on a fucking NBA 2K game that people are playing, right? A virtual basketball simulator game. Now that's really gonna do it. That's actually pretty good value still, despite the overload. It's not like I had anything else to play anyway. And now the act of evolving this too would be pretty good. You have to just get one crazy play, Bad Moon Rising-esque, to be able to... I can't believe I'm making that comparison, but I mean, it's the perfect thing. You know, just like a 7-cost card that turns everything into like a legendary would be similar to it. Like, whatever, the one we have. What is that 6-cost card called even? But see, even that one's better than the other stupid Nostalgia. Because the Nostalgia one transforms their minions too. That's what makes it almost unplayable. Right, like I couldn't do it right now, potentially, even if I had it. So they'll obviously be able to just kill that, so it's fine. We could do the stupid ass frog. But if they knew my style of play, they wouldn't even let those totems stick around, because I could do like Jive, Insect, or all these kind of other random things that are, you know, maybe not the greatest value. I have such good memories with this building here, the little mage tower, because I would always come back to Stormwind after a long day of adventuring or doing a dungeon or whatever, right? You come through the portal and go through there and have to phase through the little one portal on that side. And there was always the portal on the other side that didn't go anywhere, or maybe they added that in later to do something, but I can't remember. But you would just walk out and then, you know, go all the way into Stormwind. They didn't have like all these stupid ass mushrooms though. Why the fuck would you leave those around? I guess you would have to be a bot, but I mean, it's such a mistake because you get to now,
Here comes the drop.
I mean, you would rather almost evolve that to the extent that, but no, I mean, we'll get,
Here comes the drop.
wait, I should almost do like primordial wave, I don't know.
Here comes the drop.
No, you could just do it like this. That's still a good value play. I mean, now you could evolve them too, but there's no need to because I kind of want them to be taunts for the time being. Yeah, I wonder how seriously people even take this game in terms of esports or anything now, but, you know, it certainly had its heyday, I guess. I mean, this game, imagine that. This game as a card game did better. A casual card game did better than a fucking MOBA like Heroes of the Storm. For whatever reason, that's the one genre Blizzard just couldn't tackle. They just completely fucked that up. They made one of the best card games ever. They made one of the best MMOs ever. They made one of the best RTS games ever. Multiple Warcraft 3, whatever, StarCraft. They made some of the best top-down Diablo-style games. Like, every genre they did, they would just kill it, except for fucking MOBA. The best Blizzard MOBA was actually within one of their Blizzard games, obviously, which was the original Dota, like Warcraft 3, but you know, they didn't make it themselves, but it just happened to be better than the one that they actually did. So the whole devolving shit could happen here, and the reason why is because you can just do this. You get these little fucking tiny fin clown murlocs over here, but I'm not getting very good value stuff either. I mean, that was kind of an expensive play to do what I just did there, but the whole beauty is at least it'll negate your effects and synergies and all kind of other shit. And some of these are not really even very good for their transformation effects. They're just in there for the sake of it, I guess. Right? Just put like every card in the game that mentions transform or copy or whatever. The proportions of this are not right either. It wouldn't be going out like this. It was like on the same level, right? It would come out on the bottom of this, like it'd be in vertical line with it. But here's just for the benefit so you can actually see it, right? It would actually be underneath there, right? And there would be a lot more distance from the top to the bottom. I'm analyzing it in such great detail because obviously I know it so well. But obviously the way it would look now could be different too. Like they just remodeled Stormwind and all this kind of stuff, but some cities you would have just fucking completely forgotten about too. Like nobody probably ever goes to some of them. Or you know what I couldn't believe when I went back to play it in one of my random sessions, like, you know, my first time playing since Cataclysm or since Wrath. The one thing you didn't get to see was actually, it almost makes me want to play Cataclysm and actually do some of the raids and stuff, but the community of WoW is so cancer and stupid that nobody, I don't know, I would want to take my time too much and I don't have time. But no, it's like, my point is that, what was it? Like, oh, I was surprised that they didn't give Nomergon. Like, let's take Nomergon back over after like 4 expansions of waiting and then give the gnomes finally their own capital city, but they didn't do that. Or even like for the trolls, I guess they gave them Echo Isles, but it didn't really feel like a capital city. It was just like a random, you know, it still only feels like a random island. So it somehow was underwhelming. Well, maybe that at least proves they're not a bot, but maybe even the bots get impatient with me. It's not like I'm in that good of a spot, but how quickly do you want me to fucking move? But no, like, let me see what state that's actually in now. WoW Cataclysm, because that's the main thing I want to do is explore it, right? I might actually do. Oh, maybe I'll do that for a Saturday session. Like, I always like to explore, you know. But how would I do that then? They would have to give me like a character boost or whatever. I don't fucking know. Rise against impossible odds. Cataclysm Classic is included in your subscription. Like, when did it actually come out? They probably fucking totally ruined everything that they do. Why does it say 2022? I don't know, man. What they did with this was all weird. New dungeon difficulty system, game guide. The fuck? Just tell me like when it came out. Cataclysm now live. Cataclysm launch test May 17th. If I had more time, I would totally do it, just because like that's right when I stopped playing, so it's like the perfect thing to jump into, right? I played obviously vanilla, but I was still kind of a little bit late to that. Then I played BC a good amount, then I played Wrath the most, and then I just quit like right towards the end of Wrath. And so it's kind of like a storybook ending. Like, you beat the Lich King, even if it wasn't like on heroic difficulty or anything like that. I wasn't like super hardcore or anything, but whatever. Just like, you beat the Lich King, and it's like, wow, you beat the game, and that's good enough, so it's fine. Right, whatever, but you know, you feel like you know, I stopped right before Cataclysm came out, and then I just kind of played it very briefly and just dicked around ever since. And any other, you know, whenever I should have actually kept Evolve there, I just kind of fly around and just explore the Cataclysm zones. It'd be kind of cool to do that in a real-time sense, like, you know, as it's currently in Cataclysm, but I guess I could try to do it, but again, how would I get a level 85 character to be able to do that? And the answer is they would have to give you some stupid ass boost or something. Or, you know, even in current retail WoW, I'd want to go back and do those kind of dungeons just to hear the kind of voice lines and stuff like that. That's always one of my favorite things about WoW, is just like, you know, the voice lines are kind of like, you know, they tell a story in and of themselves, even if, you know, still a better story than Skyrim or better than Dark Souls or whatever. That's the one thing I really said with Dark Souls that they should have done, and hopefully they did it in either Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring or something else, because I haven't played any of those. Like, what they would do is they'd basically put yourself in a position to have every single boss have like voice lines during the fight. They keep talking shit to you, and you would keep hearing them over and over, and they'd be burned into your fucking brain because of how many attempts you'd have on some of them. But like, give us a little bit of personality like that. So it might be light on story and light on dialogue, but at least every boss is going to give you a certain satisfaction to that. Right, they'll each have their own sort of story to tell. That wasn't a very good evolve, but at least it gets something going. And again, I'm a big fan of the health values because it at least guarantees that they'll stick around and they can trade in and effectively get healed by the evolve that you do. And like, they'll stick around long enough to get evolved again, basically. Most of the effects are not going to be that big of a deal. In fact, they often hurt because you just kind of are wasting a higher cost thing for nothing. Fucking double Acolyte of Pain Druid over here. Self Mill Druid. We can just evolve your shit if we really want it. But I mean, you may as well just do that too. Yeah, to whatever extent these effects are going to be valuable, I could just negate them, or I guess we could just stay on the overload bandwagon. Like, we don't have to really worry about it too much. We could transform something here, which I actually don't mind doing. 4/4. Oh shit. Whenever this attacks, give your hero +3 attack this turn, which means I can actually finish this off exactly as planned. An intended synergy, which is still giving him a lot of card draw, but it's still less than what he would have gotten otherwise. Like, this is actually a pretty scary board, and of course I can keep... This is where it starts to get fun, where you can just keep doing it over and over and over. Assuming that they stick around, which they probably won't, or we'll get some kind of spreading plague type shit here. Why is everybody using that? Because they're either bots or because they're fucking just newbie free-to-play players, but that's almost still suited to what I'm using myself. I mean, we can easily just deal with their side of the board, so...
Here comes the drop!
We may as well just do it again, and then if we don't like what we get, we can always just or wait, why did I feel like I had something else I could do? What is something sort of underwhelming with its cost? 1/6, I guess that was underwhelming in itself. Gain +1 attack for each spell in your hand. Some of these cards, honestly, I don't even know what they are, because either they're so obscure or so bad that nobody ever used them, or they're this old and nobody's used them in a long time, or I just never used them myself because whatever. Either because they're too good or they're too bad. I'll use bad cards, but maybe not the worst cards, or I'll use, you know, I'll never use like the newest or the best cards right now. Or they might just fit into one of my gimmicks, like if it happens to be elusive, evasive, whatever. I kind of wish it had been evasive, actually. I complained for 10 years that they never had a word for it. Now I complain that, you know, all minions and legendary ones from the past. Like, that is a fun thing, but I won't do it because... Wait, transform something into one that costs 3 more. So we could just do, just try to keep these alive as much as possible. And then that I could even ignore, I suppose. So this one is kind of the most disappointing one. We'll go like that. Hit you in the face. And then we get to basically transform it, discover. I guess. I mean, it was pretty good on its own. Invincible, Battlecry, Death Rattle, Friendly Undead. Other elementals have +2 attack, Battlecry. I mean, I guess we'll go with that just for purely statting purposes. I mean, even these fucking, these cards have better battle cries where they actually say a voice line than the bosses in Dark Souls, or than the, you know, enemies in Skyrim dungeons, or, you know, the sort of mini boss or boss type enemies. You know, that's all you need. Give us a little voice quote, a little storyline to go along with that.
Hey, I got you, friend.
Like when a fucking card game has better voice acting than that shit, you know something's wrong. So here we can just, we'll hit that. That's perfectly fine. I just want to get rid of everything to the extent that I'm able to actually... Or I could have probably just killed his dumbass. I don't want to give him anything from this very cool, fun, evolve effect that we're going to do here. So we'll just do that, and then we get to... Or this is like almost the condition that I was talking about with respect to 5, 8. That's very underwhelming, actually. That's actually a very shitty fucking evolve. What is that? But I guess when you see legendary, you assume it's going to be good. Legendaries could be super low cost, so it's not, you know, it's kind of window dressing that it's actually going to be worse than the higher cost stuff that you actually have on average. Whereas at least at the beginning of Hearthstone, you could have assumed, like, okay, not that you would have been able to do that interaction, but like the majority of legendary cards are going to be you just have to use every transformation effect before I win, so maybe I should have gotten into a lower effect anyway. Or I didn't even get to see and process what the fuck exactly it did. Wait, but what happened? I thought... Oh. Fuck. I'm not even doing it to BM. I'm trying to follow my condition, right, of having to play everything. Like, if I have another evolve effect, any sort of transformation I have to do before. But I should have gotten him a lot lower then. Right, I just have to not get him to actually 0, but of course if they resign, then I have no choice in the matter. Just trade everything in. I don't even give a shit really how we do it. Okay, we can do this one again here, but let's get him lower here. And the little muck pool thing isn't even going to really matter. So, Dragonbane, Electra, Storm Surge. I haven't been this disappointed in Electra since that 2005 movie starring whoever playing that character from Daredevil. And then Cholmaw, Terran Gorfin. Yeah, we get the card, but not the... Destroy all other friendly minions, resummon them with +1/+1. Man, these are kind of so shitty, though. I mean, the legendary stuff is really fool's gold. Go ahead, you do that, you do that. Now, if you can't really play anything, then that should kind of count that you've already done it. Right. Like, we'd have to do this one, or I'll make an exception for that. If you can't play it, then it's not your fault, right? You filled up the board, so you should be allowed to win, right? I shouldn't have to go out of my way to do this. But we'll still keep doing it now. We'll go here, then we'll do that, then we'll do this. Ah, fuck, I fucked up again. We'll do that. I don't really care what we're doing or what we're even evolving. So now we would be allowed to win because that's not really necessary. Just the summoning effect is not as exciting as the evolve, so I won't consider that a condition. But no, I'm actually following a criteria by doing this, by saying, okay, I have to, you know, do X number, all the evolves that I have, all the transform effects, because they're technically not called evolve. If it even is a player, I'm surprised they're waiting this long to play it out. So we'll actually win with this effect then. Right, also another evolve that I had to play. So I swear I wasn't BMing, I'm just following my very specific criteria. The one thing I find with even doing like YouTube content, or just like whatever, because you show something to a wider audience, I find that people sort of lack imagination sometimes. It's like what they're surprised, like if you do anything a little differently than other people, or you know, they're all expecting everything to be the same thing as everyone else, or to whatever extent they might dislike it for that reason too. Like, not because, again, it's hard to measure that, like, not because, oh, it's objectively good or bad, or oh, you're playing well or whatever, or you're playing badly. It's more just like an intent thing, like, oh, you're doing something other than what they were expecting, and they were expecting you to be doing the same thing as everyone else, like whether it be, you know, meta stuff or something of the sort. So I just find that interesting that people are so sort of single-minded like that. Alright, this can be like the last one. See how long it does take to even get through like these low, not even like, oh, because I'm winning or losing, but it would take me like the whole month just to get to fucking silver at this rate sometimes. I guess the first week of the month I did whiz bang though, right? Because it kind of carried over because they were doing so well that I did like a final little push with them to see which one would do the best in the final episode. But the combination of only playing once a week and only playing for a short time, but also just, you know, whatever, not making much progress even on top of that. And I had the balls to try to get to legend like that, but then obviously towards the end of the month, this was in like the end of 2022, you know, I had to play more. But like the first, I was playing like once a week the same way I am now, or like once every 5 days. So I thought, oh, haha, I'll just do that, and like, you know, that'll be enough. I'll get from bronze to silver the first week, then I'll get from silver to gold the next week. And I was using like a pseudo aggro deck with the imp thing, the Galakron imp, or I guess it wasn't Galakron, but whatever. I put Galakron in there as a troll, but the imp thing was basically able to, you know, it's sort of aggro, and so it's going to go fast paced, and it's also so good that it's going to, you know, win the majority of games. And people were saying the whole time, oh, this isn't that good, but I mean, how much better would it have to be? You get to Diamond 3 with it, and no trouble at all. Even a clown like me who doesn't know the meta and hasn't played in it in a long time, and I'm getting a wild legend for the first time ever, which I was a little bit scared about because, you know, it's a case where that is actually probably worth it because that divine shield is going to be so fucking annoying. But now this you can easily control because, you know, you can play something bad on purpose. It should almost have the, whatever, enigma effect where you can't see what it actually is. I mean, it seems like most of these people are bots, but I don't really care because some of them are still beating, right? Like, why would you ever be using these things? Even if you were a new player playing your first game ever, right, I still wouldn't be entirely convinced. Very awkward curved turn, so I don't even know what to do with that. We could do this, and then if we're not satisfied, we could always do that too. Give a random friendly pirate +2/+2. Oh yeah, I forget even that it affects theirs. For one turn, your hero. Sometimes that's a really bad thing, though. You don't want it to transform there. It's like, especially with some of the legendary ones, like the Nostalgia Trip. Add 2 random 1-cost minions to your hand. We could do it yet again if we're worried about that. 3 1/1 scarabs. At some point, they're just gonna become like wisps and shit because they're gonna be so, you know, low cost anyway. But I have to clear a stupid ass board before I do anything. Now you'll bypass that effect altogether. Get a 4/2 3/5 2/2 1/1 peak of the imp, and he shall appear too. Because that was even in there. I was using some just for the effect of it too. Like some of them, you know, maybe weren't meant to be in it, but I just like I want to use every imp in the game because whatever, themes are fun. Take one idea and just commit to a hardcore. Just be simple-minded. Tunnel vision.
Get in there and fight, maggot.
Okay, so I mean, this should be another easy win. I mean, I don't know to what extent. Or you know what happens at the beginning of a month, you get your ass absolutely beat. And the reason why is because all the higher rated players are going to be playing at the low rank. Not that you can really even see that or appreciate it. But no, it's ironic that this is actually better than that stupid Nostalgia Trip thing. You might say, oh, that's because it's a legendary. But it's actually because, you know, it should even out because of the power creep. Like, a normal card today should be better than the legendary card of the past because everything is so fucked up. Guess we could just do it anyway, though. Fuck it. Let's just go ahead and do this and we'll be perfectly fine. See what we get. Again, it's not always going to be that good because legendaries can be one extreme or the other. Just like a random low cost one or one with like an extreme effect and synergy that needs support. Yeah, like I wouldn't even be able to do, I mean, I guess I could play an aggro deck, but I wouldn't even be able to do like a ladder climb anymore because I just play so fucking little. I'd have to do like every day, which I really don't feel like doing and I don't have time to do. No, that's reserved for chess. Whenever I have free time, I just do another session of fucking chess for now. But no, there were like 3 goals that I had for the game that I still want to do before it goes offline, whenever, if and when that might be. And that's the simple fact that we have the simple fact of being able to get to legend rank 1, which I've never done that or even tried to do. Every time I get to legend, I just stop. Get to level 100 on the reward track thing, right, just to unlock like a hero. And there's like one other thing that I wanted to do and I can't remember what it is. Maybe get legend like in twist mode or in some other mode that I haven't gotten it in before. Cheap viewers? No, I prefer expensive viewers. I prefer classy viewers rather than cheap ones. Fuck. Okay, we should just be able to do it, or I'll play whatever stupid ass. No, I won't be able to do it though. That's the problem. Let's just trade into all of his shit first and do it, because I want to still win within my condition of having to devolve stuff or whatever. Right, so now we're simply able to do this one, and we would have to play this one, but see, we couldn't do it because I'd have to play it like actually the full 3 times. I would have to do it on Baron Geddon unless I wanted him to die to this effect. So if I just do this 3 times, that should count, because then it's not my fault that I'm not playing it anymore. Right, it's actually just I did every effect that I could have possibly done, and then you actually win in the same breath, whereas normally you would not be able to do that. You'd have to wait another turn because you can't, you know, you've already evolved so you can't attack again unless you're lucky to get an effect like that. Okay, so now next time I play it'll be reset anyway, like you know, it'll reset to the extent of the ladder, so that'll be fine. But I'll continue with the shaman for a bit more. This is of course a very fun mechanic. In fact, it's even more gratifying in the short-term sense than some of these where they take like a little bit more amount of work to actually enjoy them. Okay, see you tomorrow.